Today we are going to rank all badges in Paper Mario the Thousand Year Door into one of these 6 categories. Let's start with the badge Multi-Bounce. This lets you jump on all enemies if you successfully execute the action commands, and if this is combined with some other badges, this can be incredibly powerful and incredibly useful. You also get it very early on in the game, so we are putting this one into the must-have category. Power Smash is another badge that you get early on in the game, and since you get it so early in the game, there actually are some circumstances where it is worth using it, so we are going to put that in worth using. If we got this later in the game, it probably wouldn't be worth using, but since you get it so early, I'd put it into worth using. The badges Ice Hammer and Fire Hammer I'm going to have to put into the nothing special category. They could be fun to use against certain enemies, but it isn't really worth it. Power Bounce is a badge that lets you jump repeatedly on an enemy until you mess up the action command. This one is going to have to either go into must-have or breaks the game. Right now, I'm tempted to put this one into the breaks the game category because you can deal a lot of damage onto enemies and defeat enemies very quickly if you're good with the action commands. The badge Power Jump is going to have to go into the nothing special category. This is one of the first badges, I think even the first badge that you get in the original Paper Mario game, but in this game it isn't too special. The badge Spike Shield lets you jump on spiky enemies, and if that's combined with Multi-Bounce and some other badges, that can be incredibly useful. It's so useful to sometimes be able to jump on spiky enemies, especially if it's a flying spiky enemy, because the only other way that you can hurt that is probably with something like a hammer throw or using an item. So Spike Shield is definitely going into the must-have category. Ice Power is another badge that we are putting into the must-have category because that lets you jump on fire enemies without taking damage. Because if that is combined with Multi-Bounce and other power boosting badges, you can destroy a lot of enemies even later on in the game very easily. Soft Stomp is a badge that if you use this attack, it lowers the defense of the enemy that you jump on, and there are very few cases where that is useful, so I'm going to put that into nothing special. Piercing Blow is a hammer attack that ignores enemy defense, and that's another one where I would say there aren't really too many cases where that's useful, so we're going to put that into nothing special. Damage Dodge is a badge that costs only 2 badge points to use, and when you successfully do the block action command, it makes you take 1 less damage than normal, and this is a badge that you can get early on in the games. So because of that, I'd put this either into the must-have category or worth using, but I think that the must-have category badges, I want to keep that for badges that you really need to have. For now, I'd put this towards the top of worth using. Quake Hammer is a badge that lets you attack all enemies on the ground and ceiling with your hammer, and Mario doesn't have too many attacks that can attack enemies on the ceiling, but you really don't run into too many enemies that are on the ceiling in this game. I'd put that into the worth using category. There are some places where this could be useful, and it's also a lot easier to hit the action command for a Quake Hammer than a Multi-Bounce. Hammer Throw is a really tough one because if you run into a flying spiky enemy, there aren't too many things that you can do, but if you have the Spike Shield badge active, then you don't have to worry about that. And if there's an enemy on the ceiling, you could hit it with a Hammer Throw, but you could also use Quake Hammer. Since I would say that Quake Hammer and Spike Shield are a better combination, I would say that this is going to be our first badge that goes into the Better Options Exist category. Another badge that is going to have to go into Better Options Exist is going to be the All or Nothing badge. This badge costs 4 badge points, and it makes it so that if you hit the action command, you deal 1 extra damage, but if you miss it, you don't deal any damage. I think that a lot of power boosting badges are probably going to go into the Better Options Exist category. We're going to put Jumpman and Hammerman there. Those badges, you could get them from Charlieton, and Jumpman makes it so that Mario can't use his hammer ability, he could only use his jump ability, but his jump power is boosted by 1, and Hammerman does the same thing for Hammer, where your hammer is stronger by 1, but you can't jump in battle. Jumpman and Hammerman cost only 2 badge points each. I would say that Jumpman is probably a little bit better than Hammerman, especially if you have Spike Shield and Ice Power. Power Plus can be a good badge, and it can be worth using in some situations when you don't have anything better, but it costs 6 badge points, and there are better alternatives. Power Rush is a badge that absolutely deserves to be at the top of the breaks the game category. This badge gives you 2 extra attack power when you're at 5 HP or less, and you can go over to Chet Rippo and decrease your maximum HP down to 5 so that this badge effect is always active. For the same amount of badge points, you can equip 1 Power Plus badge, which boosts your power by 1, or 6 power rush badges, which would boost your power by 12. If you get a bunch of these badges from the Pianta Parlor after helping out Frankie after you complete chapter 6, you can deal massive damage onto all kinds of enemies, especially if you combine this with multi-bounce, spike, shield, and ice power. You're basically invincible. You can get through the Pit of 100 Trials so easily. Another badge that helps out with this setup is the Flower Saver badge. That deserves to go into either must-have or worth using. This badge decreases the cost of flower points for special moves like multi-bounce or power bounce by 1, but it can't drop it down to costing 0 flower points. We're gonna put this one into the top of the worth using category. I'd say that it almost deserves to go into the must-have category. Maybe when we put in some more badges, we're gonna move some of these around. The badge Flower Finder is a fun one. This makes more flowers appear after a battle, and this is very useful in the Pit of 100 Trials if you're using a multi-bounce to defeat every single enemy. If this is combined with Flower Saver, you're basically never going to run out of flower points. It's really tough to rank the two of these because I'm tempted to put Flower Finder a little bit ahead of Flower Saver because it costs 1 less badge point, but I would say if you're going to a boss fight and you're not going to have lots of field enemies, then I would rank Flower Saver higher than Flower Finder. But if you're doing something like going through the Pit of 100 Trials, then I would rank Flower Finder higher. So for now, we're gonna go like this. We're gonna leave the ranking like this. We're gonna leave Flower Finder in must-have and Flower Saver in worth using. Maybe we'll switch that up though. Double Dip is a badge that lets you use 2 items in a single turn. Now in my regular playthroughs of this game, I'm not really using too many items, so we're gonna leave these in the worth using category, both Double Dip and Double Dip P, which lets your partner do the same thing. FP Plus is a badge that boosts your flower points by 5, and it costs 3 badge points. So this is incredibly fun if you are doing a badge points only challenge, because if you ever need some more flower points, then you can absolutely use this. I'd say that it's maybe even worth putting into must-have if you're doing a badge points only challenge, but if you aren't, I'd say that it's worth using because you could swap out your stats however you want at any time very easily by just equipping or unequipping this badge. So for now, we're gonna put this into worth using. Head Rattle is a badge that can confuse enemies. I'd put this one into the nothing special category. Tornado Jump is a badge that can be useful in some situations. There's a really interesting strategy I saw for defeating Sir Grodus with this, but other than that, I don't really care too much for this badge. We're gonna put it into nothing special. Sleepy Stomp, just like a lot of these Jump and Hammer badges, is also gonna go into nothing special. Shrink Stomp is a badge that might actually be useful, especially if you're playing with low HP, especially if it's earlier in the game, especially if you have badges like Power Rush and Mega Rush and you want to get to low HP and you want to be careful and you want to not die. So this one might be worth putting into the worth using category. HP Plus is a badge that I'm going to put into the nothing special category. Sure, you could have more HP, but with badges like Close Call, Mega Rush, and Power Rush, there aren't really too many situations where you'd want a lot more HP. The badge Super Appeal gives you the ability to get more star points by using a super appeal instead of a regular appeal, and it's the same thing for the partner version of this badge. I'm gonna put both of those into the nothing special category. You can come up with some interesting strategies if you want to use those, and you can use a lot of star power attacks, but you don't really have to use too many of those in your playthrough. Zap Tap was one of my favorite badges in the original Paper Mario game. I absolutely loved playing with this equipped all of the time, seeing enemies get zapped when they tried to attack me. It definitely doesn't deserve to go into the must-have category, but it could be fun for a playthrough, so I'm gonna put it over here into worth using. I'm gonna put it a little bit above Double Dip here. Feeling Fine is a badge that protects Mario from status effects like poison and sleepiness and dizziness. I think it protects him from all of those. It's a useful badge to have, especially if you're at low HP. You don't want to have a lot of those status effects impacting you, so we're gonna put that one into the must-have category. As for the partner version of that badge, I'm going to put that one into worth using, because if Mario is incredibly powerful, then it's not super important if your partner is protected, but I'm gonna put this one a little bit higher. Let's put it above Power Smash, because you can use your partners to protect you, so it might be good to have them not get dizzy or asleep or anything like that. Double Pain, we're going to put that one into the actually bad category. This badge makes you take twice as much damage as normal from enemies. It could be fun in a challenge run to play with that equipped. And the same thing with the Slow Go badge. This badge just makes you move more slowly. Why would you do that? Return Postage is a badge that almost deserves to go into the actually bad category, but I am going to just put it at the bottom of the nothing special category. It returns half of the damage that is dealt to you back to the dealer of the damage, but It costs 7 badge points, and you have to complete the Pit of 100 trials to get it. Close Call is a badge that if you are at 5 HP or less, enemies have a chance of missing you. And if you have more than one of this badge, it increases your chance of not being hit. So this one can almost be in the breaks the game category if you have a few of them, and if you are playing with Mario's max HP being at 5. But for now, we are going to put this one into the must-have category. Timing Tutor is an interesting one. This one lets you know when to press the A button for action commands, or I believe it's only stylish action commands. If you're really good at those and you already know how it works, then there's no point in using this badge, but it's a super easy one to take on and take off, and you can just learn that, so we're going to put this one towards the bottom of worth using for now. Power plus P is an interesting badge. I love this one, especially when your partner is Yoshi, because with each of Yoshi's jump attacks, Power plus 1 increases the damage of each of those attacks by 1, so that can be very powerful, especially if you stack these up. But it does cost 6 badge points, so that makes it cost a lot of badge points, and there are probably some better badges that you could wear. It's probably better to just have a bunch of power rushes for Mario, so we're gonna put this one into the worth using for now. Power Rush P is the same thing as Power Rush, except it's for your partner. So your partner deals an extra 2 damage if they are at 5 HP or less. So this would be even more powerful than Power Plus P, but we can't rank this one as highly because you can drop Mario's HP to 5 so that Power Rush is always active, but you can't do the same thing for your partner. You can't drop their HP down to 5. So we are going to put this one a little bit lower than Power Plus P. Mega Rush is an interesting badge. This one boosts Mario's attack power by 5 when you are at 1 HP. It's not very often that you are going to be down to 1 HP, but it only costs 1 badge point, so if you don't have any other badges that are very good, you could put this on and maybe just hope that you'll happen to have 1 HP at a boss fight and then you'll be able to finish it off, but you might not get the effect of it. So we're going to put this one into worth using. I would say that Mega Rush P is a little bit better than Mega Rush, because if a partner is down to 1 HP, you don't game over if your partner dies, but you do if Mario dies. So I'm going to put that one up a little bit higher. Close Call P, I don't think it's really too special. It's not too important if your partner runs out of HP, so we're going to put this one into the nothing special category. Maybe put it somewhere up here. Yeah, I think right there is a good spot for it, at the top of nothing special. Last Stand P is going to be ranked really similarly. The way that this works is if your partner is at 5 HP or less, then the damage that they take is halved. Now, Last Stand could actually be a nice badge for Mario, especially if your HP is down to a maximum of 5. That would mean that this badge is always active. If you have this badge equipped, the damage that you take is reduced by half if you're at 5 HP or less. Stacking a bunch of these badges would be nice too, but it's not every badge halves. Every badge adds 1 to the denominator. So if you have 2 of these badges equipped, then you take 1/3 of damage. If you have 3 of these badges equipped, then you take 1/4 of normal damage, and so on. It's hard to say whether this badge or Close Call is better. I'm going to rank this one a little bit ahead of Close Call for now, just so that you can have more security. If you do get hit, maybe you won't die right away. Defense Plus is an interesting badge. This one costs 5 badge points and it boosts your defense by 1. One strategy that I really liked in a playthrough of Paper Mario the Thousand Year Door was I made Mario have really high defense, so basically nothing could damage him, and I boosted my partner's attacks a lot so that my partners were really strong in taking out all of the enemies. But I would say that better options do exist than Defend Plus. These green badges are defense boosting. These 2 green badges here are D up, P down. So this decreases your power by 1, but increases your defense by 1. This badge costs only 2 badge points, and it is incredible in combination with Power Rush, especially if you have 5 HP or less. If you equip 2 of these badges, if you equip 2 P down, D up badges, and 1 Power Rush badge, that costs 5 badge points, but that is the same effect as equipping 2 Defense Plus badges. So that's why Defense Plus is in the better options exist category, especially if you're playing as Danger Mario. Now this one, would we put into worth using or must have? That's a tough thing to say. I think I'd have to put this badge into the must have category, especially if you are playing with Mario having only 5 HP and you have a bunch of Power Rush badges, because in combination, these are fantastic. As for the partner version of this badge, I don't think that this one is really too special. Your partner's defense isn't really too important, so let's put this one down here. HP plus P is another badge that isn't really too important. Your partners have a lot of HP, especially as you upgrade them, but I would say that it is a bit better than a regular HP plus because your partner's HP is a bit more important than Mario's HP, especially if you're playing with Mario at only 5 HP. Defense plus P isn't too important. I definitely say that that is better than regular defense plus, so we're gonna put that right there. Peekaboo lets you see what an enemy's HP is, and that's super cool, but you could also just tattle on enemies with Goombella, and if you do want to 100% complete the game, then you are going to have to tattle enemies. So we are going to put this one into, I almost want to put it into better options exist, because a better option is just tattling, but instead we're going to put this into the nothing special category. Heart Finder is an interesting one. It's really similar to Flower Finder, except you're more likely to find more hearts after defeating an enemy. If you're really powerful, you're probably not going to need this because you might not be taking damage at all, but for earlier in the game, it could be worth using. We're going to put it towards the bottom of worth using. Item Finder is similar to Heart Finder and Flower Finder, but it makes it so that it's more likely that you'll find an item after defeating an enemy, but I don't think that this one's really too special. Let's put this towards the top of nothing special. Actually, I think this one deserves to be at the very top of nothing special currently. Charge is an interesting badge. This lets you use the charge ability, which boosts your attack power by 1. This is incredibly useful in the original Paper Mario, especially when you're taking on the final boss, but in this game it isn't as useful just because Power Rush is such a broken badge in this game. It's so overpowered. This almost deserves to go into the worth using category, but I think that it is better than nothing special. So we're going to put this towards the bottom of better options exist. Charge for your partner, on the other hand, I think that that could be something that actually is worth using, especially with a partner like Yoshi. So let's put that around here, because it's only 1 badge point. Actually, you know what? I would say that that's probably even better than double dip, so let's put that there. HP Drain P. This decreases your attack power by 1, but it makes it so that you heal 1 HP every time you attack. I believe it's every time you attack. For your partner, I would say that this badge doesn't really matter. I'm putting this one towards the bottom here. Now, as for Mario, this might be almost worth using, especially if you're in a boss fight and you don't have too many close calls. I'm gonna put this one around the same place as Shrink Stomp. I would say that it's probably a bit more useful than Shrink Stomp, but I would only use that badge if you have a lot of power, if you have a lot of Power Rush badges, for example. FP Drain is definitely better than HP Drain. This is one that boosts your flower points every time you attack an enemy, but it decreases your attack power. So let's see where this one would go. I'd probably put this one pretty high up. I would put this one almost into the must-have category. I think it'd be similar to Flower Finder, because this badge will take effect in longer battles also. Flower Finder will only work for when you are going through something like the Pit of 100 Trials where you have a lot of battles. So I'd actually have to rank this one higher than Flower Finder just because it's more applicable. Happy Flower I would put into the worth using category. I'd probably rank it somewhere around here, maybe a little bit above Zap Tap, but if you have FP Drain, Flower Finder, and Happy Flower, that's quite a bit, and that might be a little bit overkill, so you don't really need all of those. Pity Flower makes you possibly gain some flower points when you take damage. This one isn't too special. There are some interesting strategies that you can come up with for this badge, but it's not too special, I'd say. Chill Out is a badge that prevents you from getting hit with the first strike. That might be useful. I really like this badge in the original Paper Mario because there was a blackboard at Mario's house that told you how many times you got hit by first strikes, and whenever I got hit by a first strike, I would always reset the game so that that blackboard would always say 0 first strikes. But for this game, it doesn't keep track of that, so this isn't too important, so we are going to put this in the nothing special category. Happy Heart is kind of similar to Happy Flower. It might be worth using at some parts earlier in the game, so we're gonna pop that in here. We'll put that a little bit above HP Drain, just because you could get this badge early on in the game, and it's probably going to be one of your best badges at the time. Happy Heart P is almost worth using. I wouldn't say that it's worth using. I find that it's really not too often that my partners end up taking a lot of damage, so let's put this one into nothing special around here. Damage Dodge P is another badge that you can get pretty early in the game, and just because you get it kind of early, it actually can help reduce the damage that your partners take, so I would say that that this is worth using. Let's put that one up around... Let's put that one up around here. Flower Saver P is another badge that I would definitely put into the worth using category. I wouldn't say that it's as good as Flower Saver, but you know what? A lot of your partner abilities do take up quite a few flower points. But I find that a lot of what my partners do is just Goombella uses Tattle and then Mario can destroy everybody with a multi-bounce and this amazing badge combination. So we're going to put this one around here. These pink/orange/red badges over here are P up, D down. These boost your power but decrease your defense. These definitely have to go into better options exist, because why would you use a badge like this when you could use Power Rush? Power Rush is just so much better, especially if you only have 5 HP. But if you're using another build, if you're not going to Chet Rippo to decrease your HP to 5, then you can come up with a viable strategy for these badges. In the original Paper Mario, I think it was the red Attack FX badge that helped you with taking out Hooktail. But in the Nintendo Switch version, it is the green one that you need. The green one we're gonna put into the must-have category. If you wear that badge while you battle Hooktail, it also takes 0 badge points. Every hit that you do onto Hooktail will decrease its attack and defense by 1. If you combine that with the Power Bounce badge and you get a few jumps in the first turn, you could actually decrease Hooktail's attack power to just 1 in a single turn, which is what happened in my playthrough. The rest of these sound effect badges we're just going to put into the nothing special category because they are nothing special. You just need them to 100% complete the game. This green one is Simplifier, the purple one is Unsimplifier. Simplifier, I'm actually going to put into the worth using category. This makes action commands a little bit easier. It gives you a bigger window for when you can block, but it makes you regain star power more slowly. And I didn't use too much star power in my playthrough, so I found, hey, if I could have a bigger window for blocking, I don't know if it also helps for super guarding, then that's fantastic. Unsimplifier is the opposite. It makes it harder to block. It gives you a tighter window for when you can block, but you regain star power more quickly. So I don't think that that's too important. This could be useful if you really want to use some of that, but we're gonna put that into the nothing special category. First Attack is a badge that if you attack an enemy on the overworld, if you get the first strike, and this is an enemy that would normally give you no star points because of how high level up you are, that automatically defeats the enemy and you don't have to go into a battle. This one, we are going to put into better options exist, because the better option is Bump Attack. This one costs 5 badge points, but it makes it so that if you just walk into one of these weaker enemies, they're automatically defeated and you don't have to go into a battle. This is great for when you have to revisit older parts of the game, for when you're finishing up stuff that you didn't do or you're collecting things that you miss. Even though it's a bit expensive, it's something that you can just temporarily put on when you're visiting older areas, and when you're going to the newer parts of the game with stronger enemies, you'll obviously take it off. This blue badge is called Pretty Lucky and this green one is called Lucky Day. This green one costs more badge points, so I'm going to put this one into the better options exist category. This blue one is a little bit better per badge point than the green one, I believe. But for both of them, especially if you are Danger Mario, I'm going to say that Close Call is much better. That's why Close Call is up here, these are up here. This one is almost worth promoting a little bit higher. Actually, yeah, let's put this one up quite a bit higher. Let's put this one up to, you know, I'd put this one around here. This one I'd keep down there. That's good. And the partner version of this one is actually similar to Close Call. I'd actually say that it's a little bit better than the partner version of Close Call, because it's not often that your partner's at 5 HP or less. Lucky Start is an interesting one that you get from defeating the Atomic Boo boss. This one gives you a boost for the first few turns of a boss battle. I'm kind of tempted to put it into the worth using category just because it's so unique and it could be fun to play around with. But I don't really think that it's too special since it costs 4 badge points, so we're gonna put it towards the top of nothing special. Refund is an interesting badge. This badge makes it so that if you use an item during battle, then you get some coins back. And the more of these badges you wear, the more coins you get back. I have to see if you can get more coins than you spend if you wear enough of these badges. That'd be really funny, actually. It could be worth putting into the bottom of the worth using category if you could actually use this to generate profit. That could be an interesting and funny strategy. So I'm gonna leave that there for now. Money makes more money appear after you defeat enemies, but it is surprisingly expensive to get this badge in the remake. I think in the original it was quite a bit cheaper. I want to rank this one together with Refund, so I think I'm gonna put this one around here in nothing special. Let's put it under item finder, and you know what, Refund, let's put Refund over here. We're gonna put that right there. That's a good spot for it. The L emblem badge, this one is of course going into the must-have category. It's so cool to look like Luigi. The W one, I'd also like to put that with it. You could also look like Waluigi if you combine these two. but I'm gonna put this one into the worth using category. That's a good spot for it there. Quick change. This is a tough badge to rank. For some people, this is their favorite badge in the entire game. It's so nice to be able to swap partners without using up a turn. There are all kinds of abilities and boosts and interesting strategies that you can use with this, but it costs 7 badge points. It definitely deserves to go into at least the worth using category. I don't think it deserves to go into the must-have category. If you're doing a badge points only challenge, then using at least 1 FP plus might be more useful than having a quick change. So it's hard to rank it here or here. It'll probably go in one of these 2 spots. Let's leave it there for now. And there are also 2 badges that were added to the Nintendo Switch version that weren't in the original Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door. The Nostalgia Tunes badge. This one I'm going to put into the worth using category. You could try it out if you want to see what the old sounds and songs sounded like. And there's of course the Golden Mario badge that you get for 100% completing the game. Well, not fully 100% completing, you just need the catalogs, recipes, and badges. And we're going to put that one also into the must-have category because that is a really cool one. Oh wait, you know what? I should put this into better options exist. Lucky Start, because yeah, you could use a Zap Tap, you could use Close Call, so yeah, that would be a better option. So let's put this one around there. I think that's a better spot for it. And there we go. That is our tier list. I'm pretty happy with this. I really recommend you watch my video where we have only 5 HP and we take on the final boss of Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door. You will love that video if you enjoyed this one. It is such a fun strategy. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have an amazing day ahead of you. And take care, everybody.